Hello! Welcome to All A Plus Essays, the best among the best. My name is Julie and I will be your instructor as we read through the importance of tuition reimbursement and adult learning. The article source is embedded in the video description below. Feel free to read along. Please note that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay for as little as $10 a page at All A Plus Essays. The link is in the description. In the modern world, human education plays an increasingly more important role since the rapid development of new technologies, and their implementation in different spheres of life inevitably contributes to the growing necessity of getting education. However, education cannot be viewed as a process limited in by some period of human life. In stark contrast, nowadays, it is evident that education should be a lifetime process. At the same time, it is not always evident for people and companies they are working at. This is why some companies do not pay a lot of attention to training and educating their employees in an attempt to save costs. On the other hand, employees, even though they realize the necessity of education and want to get some additional training, they still face a serious problem of the cost of education, which they simply cannot afford. As a result, it is obvious that the tuition reimbursement should become an essential component of the strategy of any company, since this is the major condition of the successful adult learning, which, in its turn, is necessary for the permanent progress of employees and, thus, higher efficiency and productivity of their work. On analyzing the problem of the tuition reimbursement and adult learning, which many companies refuse to pay for, it is primarily necessary to underline that adult education is vitally important not only to employees but to the companies. Moreover, it is even more important to a company to invest money in tuition and education of its employees than to the employees themselves. Such, at first glance, paradoxical situation can be easily explained by the recent trends in the development of the world economy and labor market. Nowadays, it is obvious that education is the major condition of the progress of a company because tuition provides employees with new knowledge and skills that they can apply during their work. At the same time, the new knowledge and skills will inevitably increase the efficiency and productivity of work of an employee, and, what is more, an employee can produce new knowledge and polish his/her skills due to the tuition and learning in his/her adulthood, and such an employee will be constantly informed the recent trends in a particular industry he/she works in. Also, it is necessary to realize that tuition and adult learning are really essential because it provides employees with the ability to increase their professional level and, what is more, get ready to experiment and implement new knowledge. In such a way, employees will progress steadily. Obviously, adult learning and tuition are essential, but the natural question arises whether the reimbursement of tuition is essential or probably the costs of tuition outweigh its benefits. In this respect, it should be said that, on realizing the necessity of tuition and adult learning of employees, a company should also realize that, without the reimbursement and providing their employees with ample opportunities to get trained, it will be impossible to increase the educational and professional level. In fact, it is obvious that, as education and tuition are growing to be more and more expensive, employees themselves cannot afford the continuous education throughout their adulthood. Moreover, in actuality, what employees can normally do is just receive the basic education. Some receive better education, while others worse, but they cannot simply afford their further education during their adulthood. There are several reasons for such a situation. Firstly, as it has been just said above, it is too expensive for an average employee. Secondly, if a company does not give them time to get educated or trained, they will not. Thirdly, it is not a secret that many employees are not sufficiently motivated to invest in their own education without any stimuli or interest from the part of their company's administration. As a result, they do not see any practical reasons to continue their education if a company does not reimburse their tuition. Potentially, such a situation may be quite dangerous since, if an employee does not continue his/her education during adulthood, it will be not only an employee who suffers from the lack of essential knowledge or skills, but, primarily, it will be the company, which suffers from the lack of professional skills and knowledge of its employee. As a result, the efficiency of work of the company at large will decrease because of the backwardness of its employees. At the same time, it is necessary to remember about the fact that, in the modern world, the investments in education are the most profitable, since a company does not simply reimburse tuition of its employees but it invests in its own future, since, nowadays, knowledge and information are the most valuable products. Practically, it means that, when a company reimburses tuition of its employees, it actually invests in its further development, since the trained and educated employees could have not only new skills and knowledge but they can also produce new knowledge as, during their adult learning, they get used to constantly acquire new knowledge, and, thus, they can produce new knowledge and share it with other employees within the company. As a result, the general, professional level and the opportunities to implement innovations within a company increase, while innovations are extremely important to the rapid progress of the company. Thus, taking into account all above mentioned, it is possible to conclude that, in the modern world, companies should take an active part in tuition reimbursement and adult learning of their employees, since education is necessary for the development and the progress of a company. Employees themselves cannot afford the further education without a company's assistance, and finally, it is a good investment in the future of the company. In such a way, it is obvious that, in actuality, it is up to the company to decide whether to save costs and do not reimburse tuition of their employees and get ready to gradual degradation, or to invest in the education of its employees and keep progressing. Bibliography: Parquets FW and GS. Curriculum Planning, LA, Allen and Bacon, 2000. Rubber Ronald W. Human Resources Administration in Education, LA, Allen and Bacon, 2001. Rosen, Sidney, ed. My Voice Will Go With You, The Teaching Tales of Milton H. Erickson, MD, New York, Touchstone, 1991. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed learning about the importance of tuition reimbursement and adult learning as much as I did. Kindly remember that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay at All A+ Essays for as little as $10. The link is in the description. See you next time.